starting in 5, 4, 3.
Yummy like a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for December 14th, 2023. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, we are getting a Spider-Verse game, and Kojima is finally going to make that movie. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Jan Ochoa, everybody. Jan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Finally got the file for the finale of Giant Bomb's Game of the Year, the real Game of the Year. It's now up on the YouTube and podcast feeds everywhere. Please enjoy it. We worked really hard on it. And I don't know. What do YouTubers actually do? What do good YouTubers do? Do they say go like, subscribe, comment, thumbs up?
Yeah, I think they say that. That's like I think they still do that. Yeah, best practices and all.
Hit the notification bell. What's up, notification gang?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Get in chat or get in the comments. Let us know if you were there. Get in the chat or get in the comments and let us know where you want us to go next. If you want us to go to Boise, Idaho, do a live show, this is the only way that'll ever happen, is if it's in the comments of a YouTube video.
Boise, we need y'all to get noisy right now.
Noisy
right?
Boise. It's what we say at giantbomb.com. Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, we'll go to the Laugh Factory. We'll do a show there, everybody. Look out at Easton, right next to the GameWorks. We will also have a meetup at the GameWorks because I want to see what that's like these days. I don't even know if
want
it's
me
still
to
open.
move my stream to my current kitchen, I'll do that too.
Just tell us in the comments. Basically, you can get us to do anything you want if you get in there. All right, Jan, I saw that you said on Twitter, what should you play next? What did you finish a game? Are you moving on to something else? Or you're just like through Game of the Year, you're like, now I can play whatever I want?
It's through Game of the Year. Now I can play whatever I want.
Right.
I did think, okay, maybe I should dip into Pandora.
Sure.
We haven't really done anything with Avatar on the website just yet.
No, we will though.
I don't know. It's just such a blank canvas now, Grubb.
You
like I feel like I hammered through like in the marathon sprint in the lead up to Game of the Year that I think I checked out everything I'd want to check out. I could go back to Pikmin, you know.
You could always go back to Pikmin. I highly recommend that. Ooh. But have you tried Suika Game yet? I've not played that yet, but that's my next one.
I played Suika Game. It's a fun little puzzle game, but like it's not gonna. It didn't immediately capture me like I feel like it did for everyone else. Someone was talking on the Giant Bomb Discord. Go join the Discord. It's a fun group
hang
of
out with us
there.
in the Discord.
Someone was recommending Paranorma Site. Maybe I'll check that out.
Yeah, that popped off bigger earlier this year, right? Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, there's I'm playing Avatar. I want to play through Star Wars. I'm trying to play that. I'm having such bad luck with like technology. Star Wars is like the one. I'm like, oh yeah, but I'm like, okay, I'll stream that to my one of my handhelds, and it works great for like an hour, and then it starts chugging, and there's no like way to like fix it unless I just shut the game down. And it's so frustrating to have to like fight with the tech. I don't want to go sit at my computer. I want to kind of just be like kicking back and playing this game, but I also want to be playing this version of the game. And yeah, it's just frustrating when I'm like, okay, I have a solution to play this, and then yet another. It found a new way to break on me, and I'm like, the universe conspires against me to keep me from playing these games sometimes. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go finish Super Mario RPG. That's the actual plan right now. A game I really love.
I think I realized why I put Pikmin down and why I haven't picked up Super Mario RPG. It's because on the Bombcast this week, we talked about what if I just get an OLED Switch?
What if you just got an OLED Switch?
And I think that's why I don't want to play any Switch games until I potentially get an OLED Switch.
Yeah, that old Switch could start feeling real old once you start messing around with the OLED a little bit. That's how it goes down. All right, let's explain what we do here most weekdays. I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Morning, or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Fans are speculating about a Spider-Verse game following the Insomniac leaks. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. Insomniac Games has quickly become Sony's most prodigious first-party studio. In the span of just 5 years, it released Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and Spider-Man 2. Now, alleged leaks from a ransomware hack potentially point to a Spider-Verse spin-off being in development. Ransomware operator Reseda recently posted what it claimed were leaked materials, including internal emails and personal employee information, as proof it had hacked Insomniac. Sony confirmed the security breach, but said it had no reason to believe the attacks had impacted any of its other subsidiaries. In the meantime, fans on Reddit have been looking into some of the leaked documents for clues about what the studio is working on outside of the currently announced upcoming Wolverine game. So far, they appear to have spotted, via Insider Gaming, potential references to additional Spider-Man games, including a Spider-Verse spin-off, as well as, obviously, Spider-Man 3 that's also in the works. One leaked screenshot mentions planned projects, including Miles Morales, something called RCE, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, and Spider-Dash, and the date 2025. Another mentions additional support for Spider-Verse. It's not proof of anything, and plans can always change, but it has players' spidey senses tingling. Jan, I think, I played through Spider-Man 2. It's very clear they're going to make a Spider-Man 3. These leaks seem to confirm that, and it's a bummer whenever these studios get hacked like this, because that's such an aggressive way for these things to get out there. But the information is out there now. There's been rumors, I think even confirmed, that Insomniac says it's working on a multiplayer game as well. Do you think there's a chance that the Spider-Verse game is that multiplayer game? And would that make sense to you? Is that something you want?
I don't know if it necessarily makes sense to me. And I think a big selling point and sticking point of why I liked Spider-Man 2 so much, Marvel Spider-Man 2, is that it had its own unique identity when they easily could have just leaned into the popularity of the Spider-Verse movies. We see allusions to that, the movie series in some of the collectibles throughout the game. And I don't know, are they just talking about when Peter Parker showed up in the movie, perhaps, and they just lent his assets or whatever? I don't know if I want maybe an expand-alone, maybe like a Miles Morales style, like 0.5-ish game.
Yeah.
I don't think I want a full Spider-Verse game.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to capture what makes the Spider-Verse movies so much fun and so high quality in a game. I think that you'd be shifting around, especially if it's going to be some sort of multiplayer first experience, whatever that would be. Competitive, I don't know, cooperative, a battle royale, an extraction shooter with Spider-Man. Who knows what that actually ends up looking like. I get the appeal if you are thinking, okay, we really want to make a multiplayer game because Sony is very big on having live services right now. This could be our pitch. And Spider-Verse, you could have a bunch of Spider-Man all in a one space. And wouldn't that be fun? We're really good at making those. Let's just make an environment where a bunch of people can be playing at the same time as a Spider-Man. But beyond that initial, that makes sense, I actually don't know how much it could work. It seems like it would require a lot of finagling to get it to a place where it would be fun consistently and not just some distraction that Fortnite could copy really quick and take all, eat your lunch or whatever. So if it's not Spider-Verse, that's their multiplayer game, do you think there's a chance that maybe the RCE is referencing Resistance? Is Resistance coming back? Or maybe Ratchet and Clank? RCE. It's hard to tell, but these things there's some smoke here. I don't know. What do you think?
I think Ratchet, Clank, and Earl. Yeah.
Finally.
They're adding a third character.
It's just a guy. It's just a man.
It's just a man who's following him around on a scooter. I would love to see more Resistance because I think it'd be hilarious. I just don't think there's any name recognition or any type of nostalgia for Resistance popping off. Unfortunately,
not for me either. Not for me either. But there's definitely fans out there. They'll be like, "No, Resistance. They should bring that back." But I agree
stop
with
resisting.
You. Yes, they should accept it.
Better games out there, guys. When you were just talking then about dropping a bunch of Spider-Man onto an island. There's that sequence in Across the Spider-Verse where Miles is being chased. That could be fun to work into a video game.
Yeah,
but then that how old does that get after like the first 2 or 3 times playing it as the chaser and then the chasee?
Right. I mean, because you think about it, if it's like you're going randomly, it's like, are you going to be the chasee? 1 out of 100 times you get to be the chasee. I mean, clearly they wouldn't do it that way, but yeah, it would be it'd be hard to build an entire experience around just that. They would probably have to have a bunch of different modes, and some won't be as good as others. It's a challenge. This is Insomniac's very good at making games, so I'm sure they could figure it out. But just like the natural fit here, there is some shine there where it's like, put Spider-Man, make it a multiplayer thing. Spider-Verse is very popular. Again, beyond that, I don't know if it's like just, this is the easiest thing in the world to turn into some success. That's if they want to make let's say a 4-player cooperative Spider-Verse game that is like the equivalent of Miles Morales, like that's the 0.5, where it's like it's an expandalone, but you are going through a smaller campaign, or maybe even like a roguelite sort of thing with the Spider-Verse characters. That could be cool. There are ways to pull that off, but if it's I don't even know how long that could last as a live service game, but if they could like set their sights lower than, this needs to be something that runs for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, and it could just be like, no, this was a fun thing, sort of like the Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer mode they added later, where it's like, it's okay if like it's just this little thing. I think that could be cool. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that could be interesting. Maybe this could serve as a bridge before the third movie also. Like that second movie ends in such a way where there is a squad of spider people that could be preparing to do something, right? And there's a noticeable lack of Spider-Gwen, despite Spider-Gwen being like a massively popular character.
Right. She could be like the star, like she could be like the cover character for a Spider-Verse game.
Yeah, and then that would do gangbusters, even if it's not like a proper... I'm trying to think of what a proper... Okay, Grubb, hear me out. What if it's 4 spider people? You get Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, and then all these giant tentacles with purple spots pop up, and then all of them have guns.
Okay.
And then you get different SKUs of the guns.
All right.
And then there's like a helicopter you got to fight, and the helicopter is a giant purple spot.
Okay, I am in as long as Spider-Man also gets to shoot and kill Superman. Then I'm down. All right.
That's how we're doing it. We're bridging the gap.
It's the future of video gaming, everybody, here on Game Mess Mornings.
Cut the check. I don't know who I should ask to cut the check, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential interested parties for that one, Jan. Listen, Insomniac is my favorite Sony studio right now.
If anything, I trust Insomniac,
same.
right?
If this is what they want to do, go for it.
Whatever they choose to do, I'm probably going to be skeptical at first, but I fully trust them to pull off whatever.
Yep, absolutely.
I'd actually be disappointed if it was a Ratchet and Clank game, and that hurts me to say.
Yeah, I really like Rift Apart. I don't know if I need another Ratchet and Clank this generation, though. I say that, but I'm sure once I play it, I'll be like, oh no, this is great. If they feel like they have a ton of new ideas for some Ratchet and Clank thing, for this other RCE project, that's what that is. I want to see it, because they did such a good job with Rift Apart, and I think they could build on that. But if it's like, we're just doing another Ratchet and Clank because that's what we do, I don't necessarily think they should try to force one out this generation. They already have their really good one. Just let that go, and in a couple more years, revisit Ratchet and Clank at that point. They got to pick their spots, and Ratchet and Clank didn't even sell that well, so which is more disappointing. Yeah, I mean, it did okay, but not that great. All right, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Let's stick with the Spider news. New Game Plus and other features have been delayed to 2024. This is from George Yang at GameSpot. Insomniac Games has announced that it will be delaying upcoming features for Marvel's Spider-Man 2, such as New Game Plus and audio descriptions, to 2024. We have been working vigilantly on these new features and require more testing to ensure that the quality is up to our standards, Insomniac said in a statement. We are now targeting early 2024 for the next game update, and we'll have a feature-complete list closer to its release. We've heard your feedback, and we will be adding some highly requested features, including the ability to change the time of day, swap tendril colors, and replay missions, just to name a few. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 was released in October for PS5 and sold over 2.5 million copies in its first 24 hours. I think that they're at a point where, just take your time on this stuff. I get a little bit disappointed when New Game Plus specifically isn't right there right away in a game, because it's like, my chances of returning to that later diminish greatly every passing minute, let alone every passing day or week. But it's always better that these things come later than not at all, right?
Yeah, it also incentivizes players to circle back to a game, right? It can breathe a little bit of new life. Especially if it's a substantial one, like not that Alan Wake 2 needed any more life support, but now I'm even more incentivized to like stay in that universe. Right. I wouldn't mind going back to Marvel Spider-Man 2 at all, if the New Game Plus is substantial enough. Also, the holiday season is coming. A lot of people are going to be picking up Spider-Man 2 as gifts for the holidays, and maybe they won't be like us and burn through the game immediately. But I could see a New Game Plus that's pushed out to 2024 picked up a lot by that holiday audience.
Yeah, I'm like trying to see what color tendrils could you have in this game right now? I think it was just black and then white eventually, right?
Black and white, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, hey, I get people maybe being a little bit scared of white tendrils, wanting to switch off of that. Sure. What color tendril, if you could have any color tendrils, Jan, and I know you have been thinking about this every day of your life, what color tendrils would you have?
Grubb, I think we just spoke the game I was joking about into existence. If we can change tendril colors, because what if you make purple tendrils?
There it is. Yeah,
what if you make purple
hypercolor
tendrils?
Purple. Yes, that's what I want.
Yeah. Purple tendrils with some like a big glowy spots, huh? What if Peter becomes the monster, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
And then just someone comes out of nowhere and starts shooting at him. And it's an Australian with a boomerang for some reason. Suicide Squad's coming out, man. We have to recognize that is going to happen next year.
I watched the first one the other day for whatever reason. Yeah, that's a movie.
I mean, yeah, barely. Man, there's a really good video about the editing of that movie from Dan Olson on Twitter or on YouTube that I watch all the time. That one's worth checking out. The part that really got me is like when it like drew attention to that opening shot of like the helicopter going over the trees, and then like there's this really interesting building on the horizon, and that's where your eyes are looking, and then words pop up. And they're dark words over these dark trees in the bottom right corner. And you go to like look at it, and it's such a visual mess that I'm like, who made this movie? How did this happen? Yeah, and the whole movie's like that. So, okay, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we got a lot more news to talk about, including the Switch becoming one of the best-selling consoles ever in the history of the United States, and more. We'll get to that right after this. And we're back. I got more news for you, Jan. The Switch has toppled the Xbox 360 to become the number 3 best-selling console ever in the United States. This comes from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. The Nintendo Switch continues to soar, and now it's reached a huge new sales milestone. The hybrid console has surpassed the lifetime sales of the Xbox 360 in the United States. The milestone came in November. Circana analyst Matt Piscatella said the PS2 and the Nintendo DS are the top 2 best-selling systems ever in that order, meaning the Switch is now number 3 all-time in the United States. The NPD does not disclose specific sales numbers, however. Yeah, basically he just said, this is now behind only the DS and the PlayStation 2 in the US, surpassing the Xbox 360. That's pretty impressive. It's going to keep going because it's like, December is going to be a big month for it. Those are November sales. And they have not talked about what's next, and they got plenty of games still coming for this thing. So, it's not going to sell like it has in the past, but it could still sell several million more units this next year. And it has a chance to probably catch up to the DS. We'll see about the PS2. PS2 might be out of reach. The PS2 got to a point, Jan, where it was like $120, and it was still a DVD player, and people still really wanted that. And FIFA games kept coming out for forever, and there weren't like iPads and other things to put your money into where you get free games. So it's like if you wanted to play video games, you go get the older PS2. So they were just in a different world. But hey, that's pretty impressive to be up in that top 3 in the United States with the Switch, right?
Absolutely insane, especially considering that people would have to buy multiple 360s just in case theirs broke.
Yep.
Grubb, you may be on the lookout for another Xbox 360.
Yeah, God, I was trying to get the game started, so I was going to make sure everything was good to go, and I'm glad I checked it like really early yesterday before Blight Club for Ride to Hell Retribution, and it would not, just for like an hour almost. It was like, no, can't read the disc. I'm like, I'm just going to keep trying, and I came back and tried one more time, and what I did is I like the tray, the door, I kind of like just gave it a little bit of pressure as it was starting up, and that seemed to make it work. Now, it's like, when you like try to finagle the NES cartridge in the original system, trying to get that to work. It felt like that, but it did work, and then the game just operated. It must just be like a check at the beginning, because once the game starts running, I never have any problems.
Fine.
It's not like, oh, I'm trying to read information, I can't get it. So I don't know, but the next time I go to play that game, it's probably not going to work at all. So yes, yet another Xbox 360 will be sold because of me.
There's so many Switches out in the wild, Grubb. I don't know who else. You know what? I say that. I don't know. I was about to say I don't know who else is getting one. But then I'm about to buy another one.
And Backlar's the one that surprised me, because like Backlar, of course, he's got this power to just be like, that's not important to me. I'm not even going to think about it. And then he saw the OLED in person, was like, now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, okay. You're susceptible. You're like me, Jan. Yeah, we're very susceptible to these things.
We're patsies.
Exactly. We're marks for this stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, the Switch OLED actually is much better than even most people realize. That screen is just so good. But once they start talking about the next device, I do imagine things are going to move very quickly from the Switch to whatever is the follow-up.
Yeah.
There will not be a lot of overlap and a lot of like lingering desire for the Switch at that point, especially if backwards compatibility is strong. So I think, Nintendo taking their time with that makes sense, especially because the Switch continues to sell really well, especially in Japan, once again, where it's selling better than it did the year before.
I think I'm just a little bit hesitant with Nintendo properly supporting backwards compatibility.
You should be, yes.
And I feel like I've just invested so much time into the Nintendo Switch that I'm not ready to say goodbye yet.
Right. There's every reason to be suspicious of Nintendo's ability to do proper backward compatibility, because the NVIDIA hardware that they probably will end up using won't be just naturally backward compatible. So there will have to be something that makes it work, whether that is Nintendo doing an extra compatibility layer with NVIDIA or asking every single developer to update their game, which would be a nightmare. There's probably going to be some headaches there. Hopefully my hope is like NVIDIA just does the work for them and bakes in a solution right on the hardware level, or not on the hardware level necessarily, but bakes in a software solution so that like backward compatibility could be a thing going forward, so that if they decide one day to like switch to yet another new piece of hardware, they don't lose what they did here. But we'll see. We're probably going to find out in the first 3, 4, 5 months of next year, like what that thing is actually going to be. And maybe we won't get answers right away about that stuff, but I don't think we're going to have to wait too much longer.
I think the PS2 number makes sense to me in my head. I feel like saw PS2s everywhere growing up. And then for your reasoning of doubling as a DVD player for some people, the DS just blows my mind. Because I feel like that was just a kid thing when I was in high school, right? Yeah,
it's definitely, I loved my DS, but it was surprising how successful that was. I imagine a lot of it was Pokemon, but a lot of like Pokemon powers, every Nintendo handheld, and like the 3DS had a big drop. Now the DS again was before the iPad. That's the big thing. Like you could see the difference between the 3DS and the DS is just at a certain point, some families decided we're going to stop getting these kids DSs or in Nintendo devices where we have to buy individual games. Let's just get them an iPad and let them download a $5 game or eventually free to play games. But yeah, the DS was just a monster. It just sold so much better, and it sold to like that Wii audience, that older audience, the DS Touch generation or whatever it was called, with the brain games were really popular. Right. It was just on every front, it was selling. It was really weird. All right, next story. Hideo Kojima, and A24 are teaming up to create a Death Stranding film universe. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. Film and television company A24 has announced that it'll be working with Kojima Productions to produce a live-action adaptation of Death Stranding. The news was announced through A24's store and Twitter account as the company debuted a new black t-shirt that features its logo rendered with the Death Stranding elements. It's official. We've partnered with Kojima Productions on the live-action feature film adaptation of Hideo Kojima's acclaimed video game Death Stranding, reads the description for the t-shirt. A Death Stranding film was first announced to be in development back in 2022, but at the time, further details on it remained in secret. A24 was born into the world about 10 years ago, and their presence is singular within the industry. They are like no other, Kojima wrote in a blog post detailing the decision to partner with the indie film studio. Their innovative approach to storytelling aligns with what Kojima Productions has been doing for the last 8 years. Now we are making Death Stranding movie together. There are a lot of game adaptation films out there, but what we are creating is not just a direct translation of the game. The intention is that our audience will not only be fans of the games, but our film will be for anyone who loves cinema, which is Kojima, of course. This feels kind of like a good fit. I don't know. What do you think?
I am an A24 slut.
Sure. Yes.
And I have no interest in watching this at all. And I don't even mind Death Stranding. You know, I revisited it once they did the director's cut and liked it well enough. No one needs this.
Yeah.
No one needs this.
I will say, even the people that really like Death Stranding, no one's like, the story is great. It is maybe fun. It's definitely indulgent, right? I think a little bit, like especially as you get near the end.
That's a lot of Kojima's work, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is. Yes. But I do at a certain point, I'm like, I'm glad Kojima's going to be able to get this out of his system. He's always wanted to make a movie. Let him do this. And another part of me is like, this is good for anyone who wants to get that Metal Gear movie, because I think Konami will be like, well, we can't let, we got to get that out before he gets out that Death Stranding movie. And they might push each other to actually get these things out the door. Yeah, I don't know. I also think A24 is kind of getting a little bit in their big budget era. And like, did you see the Civil War trailer?
Yeah, I did.
Looks like a big budget movie. What do you think about that? I'm like, again, like a 40-year-old white guy in the suburbs. So I'm like, yep, this looks like the kind of thing for me. And everyone's like, why are you making porn about the war, America tearing itself apart? I'm like, yeah, I kind of want that kind of porn personally, but I don't know. What do you think of it? Yes, exactly.
I thought it was completely fine. The problem with movies in the ilk of social commentary movies framed as big blockbuster movies like Civil War is that people will 5,000% get the wrong message from it.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
We do need to secede from the States. Let's have a civil war.
This Jesse Plemons guy's onto something.
I do love Jesse Plemons.
Give me the Plems. Absolutely.
God. Like, I know a lot of people poke fun at the Plems, but like, let me tell you, I think the Plems maybe one of my favorite actors. I love
him. Every time I see him, I get excited. I love him. Starting with Friday Night Lights. That's where I first saw him, and then everything afterward. I'm like, yeah, this is my dude. I think if A24 wants to start doing like bigger stuff, Kojima matches up pretty well with that. I think Death Stranding can work with that. Visually, it's got the right amount of, hey, we can do this. We can go to Iceland and film most of this, and then we can use what CGI budget we have very sparingly to have big popping scenes. No,
Grubb, I don't want CGI. I want practical effects that someone's back is overloaded with so many boxes, and I want them to Benny Hill fall down a hill.
You know what? You're right. They actually should do like that. You're right there. They should actually figure out how to do that. Even like, it doesn't have to be like the full weight, but like make it kind of heavy. I want to see someone actually struggling moving around in a world with that dumbass backpack. That would rule. I don't know. I like Death Stranding. I think this could be cool.
I think the problem that I have circulating in my head is that, one, Kojima is a very busy dude that appears to be making another game and then another game and then befriending every celebrity he can.
Yes.
But on top of that, I feel like Kojima, I have this very same issue, needs to be involved in every single thing that the movie's going to take forever to come out.
Yeah.
Because if he is a dude that edits his own trailers
for
his games, he would want to be in that editing bay for forever.
I do think you're right that in the editing, it could get prolonged for sure. And then maybe that leads to reshoots. But I want to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt after what happened with Death Stranding, because I remember when he had that deal with Sony, and I was like, and I think everyone else, but I'll speak for myself. I was like, oh yeah, have fun with that. We'll see that game in 10 years. And then he put it out in like 3 or 4. It was really quick, actually. And so him being able to do that with a game that is like even maybe more complicated than making a film, I'll be like, okay, I think if he could do that with this game, he could maybe follow through that with his film. But this is his first time getting involved in a real filmmaking process. So maybe maybe there's a learning process, and then maybe that actually turns into him taking some extra time. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're right in this. The movie actually takes several years, and it's a video game movie at the end of the day, and those get like canceled and canned all the time. Right. And about 10% ever actually see the light of day. So we're talking about all this, and it might never matter, right?
Yeah. I want to, folks at home, listening at home, I want you to tell us who you think should direct it. Because they're not going to let Kojima direct it.
Right.
He's going to be like executive producer and just be there every single day of every single shoot. But
yeah, he'll be like Lucas in the background of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to see who folks think should direct it. Ooh, GDT?
Yeah, I mean, right, because Del Toro's in it. They also have Nicholas Redding. I can never say his last name anyhow, and now I can't remember it also, so I'll just sneeze through it. Nicholas.
Either of those. Oh man, if it's GDT, I love that, man.
I think that'd be a pretty cool thing to see Guillermo del Toro get to do like a big budget sci-fi movie that definitely has the kind of horror undertones that he's really good at. So that's a good fit. There's already the relationship there. And they just get the cast from the game, right? It would be absurd if they recasted those characters, right?
He would, like, folks are joking around like, oh, who's going to be Sam Bridges? It has to be fucking Norman Reedus.
Yeah, it would be very strange if it wasn't, I think. I don't know. But yes, it would also be hilarious if they recast the characters. All right. Hey, there's a rumor Sega will reboot Altered Beast, Eternal Champions, and Kid Chameleon. This is from Jonas Mackey at Game Reactor. During the Game Awards last week, Sega had a pretty impressive lineup of announcements as they confirmed that no less than 5 frequently requested classics were going to get new installations at some point in the future. Just one day later, they also revealed that this is only the beginning and that their intention is to bring back even more classic games. Fast forward to today, and Gamatsu has now noticed that Sega has trademarked more older games, including Altered Beast, Eternal Champions, and Kid Chameleon. All of these 3 are Sega classics from before, and while it's definitely not a confirmation of any kind, it could give us indication of other retro titles from the vast Sega library that will be brought back to life. Another thing pointing in that direction is the fact that there was a rumor doing the rounds earlier last summer claiming that Sega was working on a new Altered Beast, which is kind of where I'm at with this and why I included the story. Is I remember that and pairing it up with these trademarks and then pairing that up with the clear initiative of them bringing back these older games. That seems like they're probably doing these for real. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. They had that strong showing during the Game Awards showing off Crazy Taxi, a Shinobi, other titles on free, Golden Axe. I think there's an appetite for more old Sega and just letting Sega cook.
Yes.
But here's my question, Grubb. Where the fuck is Vector Man?
They are not talking about Vector Man. That has not been included in any of the rumors, any of these trademarks. And I think Vector Man deserves to come back. Why not? You know what? Did they make Gunstar Heroes? I can never remember.
I want to say, yeah.
I think yes, Sega published it, Treasure developed it. That means yes. If they bring back Gunstar Heroes, make that like make that like a roguelite, maybe even make it
do that.
Yeah, shit, that would fucking rule. Okay, yeah, there's like so many cool Pepsi Man, of course. Thank you, Blue. And wasn't that PlayStation? Was that Sega on PlayStation? I have no idea.
No.
Yeah, but yes, there's lots of stuff that they could still bring back. Do you think that we actually get to this point where we are getting the ones that we're mentioning that aren't being rumored right now because they see enough success from these games as they've announced them so far?
I think I want to say yes, but I feel like Sega's gonna wait and see after this initial crop releases and how well they do. Um, I hope that Sega has a strategy here with everything because, Mike went ape shit when Shinobi got announced.
Yep.
So I hope that they do. And we've been hearing about super games for like the past
Yes,
year.
we have.
So I hope that they stick through with all of these initiatives. I hope that they're successful, that we can circle back to the actual games that matter and not the Shinobi crazy taxi kid chameleon bullshit and go to Vector Man.
Go right to Vector Man. People in chat also mentioned Virtual On, Burning Rangers, the ones that actually should get like, okay, I'm glad they're doing a lot of Genesis stuff. That is cool. But Crazy Taxi's like Dreamcast. Let's like represent some Saturn stuff. Let's get Burning Rangers. Let's get Panzer Dragoon Saga. Just do a Panzer Dragoon Saga 2. Bring back Panzer Dragoon Saga in some way, and then make a second one. The Sega could have a big RPG series like that, and that would rule. And Panzer Dragoon Saga is very fun. Power Stone, yes, thank you, Marino.
Oh my God, yeah, Power Stone.
Overall, though, I think this strategy can work, and I hope it does. Yeah. And just seeing the various takes that they're performing on these games, so it's like, no, yeah, Shinobi's going to be 2D. Golden Axe is going to be a little bit like isometric 3D a little bit. It's like, yeah, that's the right amount of money to put in something like Golden Axe, where it feels like a new game, kind of like a big game, but mostly it looks like it's going to play like a Golden Axe. Maybe it has deeper gameplay mechanics, and I would welcome all that. But yeah, I love all these franchises for the most part. I have fond memories of them. So Sega investing in its own history feels like a good idea. I think maybe the only thing missing from this is like, okay, so you're going big on all these classic names that we recognize. Maybe you should also be looking to like over to Digital Extremes, Digital Ocean, Other Ocean, Mike Micah's company, Drew Scanlon. Get them in there, have Chris Kohler come in, go through your history and pair up these awesome like digital museums with some of these games so that we can like remember the history while we're also getting these new experiences. I think Sega is so ripe for the picking with that stuff. They're the big company that would be more open to that, I think, than someone like Nintendo, and they have the history that can support that in a big way. Where it's like, they're the making of Karateka. Like, I think that's amazing. But like, I talked to Mike about it. Mike's like, I had not heard of Karateka until this year. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you're not alone there. I think a lot of people haven't heard about it. Sega games people have heard of, and I think if Sega doesn't work with Drew Scanlon and all them over there, they should at least try to do it themselves. I want to have like the history be brought up alongside these games coming back. I think that would be the best of both worlds.
Oh yeah, 100%. And this is a selfish desire because I feel like just like Jet Grind Radio, Jet Set Future, where those were games that I was always curious about checking out when I was growing up. I think another game that I think I would love to check out if it was easy to do, and I think it might actually be, so I'm speaking out of my ass. Phantasy Star Online for like a console, just like a streamlined experience. Give me that, like a 4-person thing, just like that.
Yeah, that I think that's like they could get to the end of this Super Game Initiative, and sort of that can be the culmination of getting back to Phantasy Star Online, like the original game, and reimagining that for a new generation. It doesn't have to try to be as big as Destiny. Still mostly be Phantasy Star Online, but that would be very cool.
Like make it Monster Hunter adjacent, right? Where I know a lot of people play Monster Hunter multiplayer.
That's something. You're right. Yeah.
So go for that.
Yeah, and again, like a Panzer Dragoon Saga, but also Phantasy Star. Make just a straight up Phantasy Star big RPG. Learn. Just go look. Go look over at Atlas. Be like, oh yeah, we can do that for our games too.
We're allowed to do that. All right.
They should be allowed to do that. We got to get rid of the laws that are preventing them from doing this. Yeah, that would be cool. Phantasy Star 4. I know that has a lot of fans. I think you just look at that game and extrapolate from there to a modern game at this point. All right. Altered Beast, though. That's one where it's like, yeah, sure. There was a newer Altered Beast for like PS2, right? Am I making that up?
No, you're not. You're not. Just like there was a newer Vector Man for the PS2 as well.
Was there really?
Yeah, there was like a 3D third-person shooter.
Whew, okay, all right then. All right, let's get to the next story. Fallout 4's PS5 and Xbox Series versions have been delayed to 2024. This is from Eric Hiddleback-Furu at Game Reactor. 14 months ago, Bethesda announced Fallout 4 was coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series in 2023, and that it would be a free upgrade for those who already own the game on last-gen consoles. This made people quite excited, but people started to suspect a delay was coming when we had not heard anything else through the summer. The fact that Bethesda said no comment when asked for an official update about the release date just left, and this is Eric saying this, left me waiting for this extremely last-minute announcement. Bethesda confirms that PS5 and Xbox Series versions of Fallout 4 have been delayed to sometime in 2024. That's not exactly surprising. Also, it's not surprising because it's like, hey, why not take the extra time and line it up with the TV show, right? The TV show seems to be coming in pretty good. I think it looks high quality enough that it's going to get some attention. Looks better than the Halo show, at least. And I think Fallout 4 actually could be the game that people go back to when they get excited about watching that show. And they're like, okay, now just like Witcher, I want to go play a Fallout game. Fallout 4, if it gets an update right around that time, could really benefit from that. What do you think?
I think it's an interesting strategy to just port this over to the current gen of consoles versus making a new one. And I think it's oddly a very smart strategy for them to do.
Yeah.
And it would make even more sense, Grubb, to delay this, like you said, for the launch of the TV show, because then there's like a lot of existing guides and videos and content already centered around Fallout 4 that you just breathe a whole new life into it with this.
Right.
It makes sense. Yeah, just take your time on it. I mean, hey, that game, just like every other Bethesda game, I feel like did not launch smoothly. So let's get it as smooth as possible, Todd.
Yeah, let's actually give Fallout 4 a little bit of extra love. Let's show that we're capable of that. Take your time. Obviously, part of that probably is that they are putting a lot of extra work into Starfield. Maybe they're feeling the pressure to update that more frequently. They said they're going to update it a ton throughout 2024. So that probably will draw resources away from maybe something a little bit more low priority, like an update to Fallout 4. But yeah, I think, hey, a new Fallout game just seems so impossibly far away. Like there's just no world in which like the core Bethesda Game Studios team is working on a Fallout anytime soon, because Starfield's going to take a lot of their attention for quite some time, and then they've already promised Elder Scrolls is next. So we are talking 2030s before we're really looking at a realistic time frame for a Fallout game from them. So finding other ways to do Fallout, whether it's not just, an updated version is one thing. That's like the smallest thing they can do. But I don't know, remasters of, or maybe even like full-on remakes from a new studio of Fallout 1 and 2, I think could be really cool. Obviously, like I've said before, Obsidian has had that conversation with Bethesda and Microsoft, and it was just a conversation about a Fallout New Vegas follow-up of some sort, but you could see a world in which, that happens, because it's like, man, well, otherwise we're waiting a really long time for a Fallout game that people want. So
is it, I never checked out New Vegas. Should I circle back to that? I think
by saying that, you just got a million people really excited because New Vegas is beloved. I've never really played it either. I started it and I meant to stay with it. I think it would be a cool feature, actually. We should play New Vegas. It's one I really want to get into.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, fuck. Why did I say? Why do I think out loud?
Let's go. Vegas boys. All right, next story. Niko Partners has a report here that Asia and MENA, which is Middle East and North Africa, spending is at $78.5 billion for in-game purchases in 2023. This is from Sophie McAvoy at gamesindustry.biz. A new report from Niko Partners has found in-game purchases accounted for 87.8% of the $89.4 billion gaming market share in Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa. Of the $78.5 billion spent on in-app purchases, premium games counted for just $7.8 billion, while $3.1 billion was spent on subscriptions. The report said 62.3% of those surveyed bought premium games in the last 12 months across all platforms. A third of respondents used subscription services to access the games, which increased to 51% when accounting for broader subscription services such as Prime Gaming. However, high retail prices discouraged non-spending players from purchasing premium titles, with 39.3% of mobile gamers and 44.3% of PC gamers citing it as their biggest issue. I'm including this story just to like put in perspective. Hey, when it comes to the global gaming market, in-app purchases, free-to-play gaming, and then gaming on mobile is gigantic and getting bigger. And it's just growing so much faster than premium game purchases, let alone the console space, which would be catching up in places like Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa, and don't have as much of a presence in those regions. But people are still playing a ton of games. And so when we see companies like Microsoft de-emphasize the console, this is what they're looking at, right? They're like, hey, we got to figure out a way to catch this other wave that is not just like happening, but has happened. And now they want to get out ahead of that. And they could do that now that they have Candy Crush Saga and Call of Duty Mobile, right?
Yeah, I know that a lot of audiences and communities joke around about Genshin Impact, MiHoYo in general, but they are an absolute behemoth
juggernaut
with the gacha style of gaming, and as well as in-app purchases, because it's a whole carrot and stick, Grubb, right? Like it feels bad to just lose $70 to $80 for one title.
Yep.
But if you get in for free, and then you're just getting the little taste of like, all right, $2, that eventually adds up well past $70 to $80 in the lifetime of someone playing that specific game. And also just accessibility. Everyone, for the most part, has a phone. I actually think Apple's on the wrong side of this. Remember, we saw those stories of like, you can play your AAA games on your iPhone, ray tracing and everything.
Yep. Resident Evil 4 on your phone.
Resident Evil 4. I don't think there is an interest in that specifically.
Yeah, I think that ship has sailed.
That ship has sailed. People definitely want something akin to a Call of Duty mobile, a PUBG mobile. I mean, Fortnite was always huge on mobile specifically. And speaking from experience or through osmosis, where my partner's a high school teacher, the children are terribly glued to their phones. Like this generation of kids, and this isn't just me saying like being an old man and saying like, oh, the kids don't know one of these days. I definitely think there is an odd dependency on the mobile market and stuff where it is a part of their day to day. You cannot rip it away from them, or they may cry, because I've heard stories of kids cry.
I think that we would, we're going to look up from our games here in 10 years, and we're going to be like, okay, what are the kids into when it comes to the stuff that we like? And I think there's going to be a pretty large disconnect of them being like, we never even considered console games, really. And
100%.
I think our, maybe in our immediate zones, the people around us that like see us playing console games and playing PC games, they will clearly will know people that do that. But I think on a global scale, and even here in the United States, it's going to be like, no, they don't actually care about this stuff. And I think that that's another trajectory that Microsoft has spotted. And they're like, yeah, we get it. People who play console and PC games, they do spend a lot of money. But that it's almost going to look like an anomalous behavior, an anomaly here in a little bit, where it's like, yeah, that generation was built that way, and everyone on either side of them does not jive with that in any actual real spending way, and they just want to consume games in this whole other new market. And I was, I was talking to my Uber driver on the way home from the airport, because he was like interested in like, why are you out there? And he's like, okay. Well, you care about the business side? I'm like, yeah, we talk about it on my show all the time. And we started talking. I was explaining like, yeah, people, the way people spend on gaming in different countries is also very different than here. And like pay to win can't really work in console and PC. On mobile and in places like China, which has a huge business for PC gaming, they're like, no, that's totally normal. That's completely fine. Like that, there's no, and that's not a qualitative statement. I'm not like saying, oh, they're worse for that. I don't care if that's their culture, but they're like, no, if you have more money, of course you should be getting better stuff in a game. That just makes sense to them. And that amount of money going into that way of thinking about games is going to have effect on what games look like globally. And it's just going to, again, we're going to look up in 10 years and it's going to be very, very different, I think.
100%. Yeah. There's a whole market out there, Grubb, that is completely different than how we will ever operate and look at games. And I'm not poo-pooing it at all. I love it. It is definitely an audience where it makes sense why Microsoft was so adamant about wanting to acquire Activision Blizzard King, because of the King aspect of that as well. And I just don't see those people, because I think about how Nintendo fumbled the bag with Animal Crossing, Grubb, because I feel like there's a lot of overlap when it comes to people that are exclusively mobile gamers with Animal Crossing specifically, where you could have fleeced those motherfuckers so hard. They could have done it. Doug, get ready to cut the check. I got ideas, baby. But I know a lot of people, Grubb, that have spent an obscene amount of money specifically on Pokemon Go, for example, that have never touched a AAA game in a decade.
Okay,
a lot of people, and I'm not talking about my partner, because that means I spent the money. A lot of people that I'd come across and meet and just chat with them, and in a similar experience, Grubb, where you're chatting to your Uber driver about this, and like I'm talking to them, and they've never heard. They don't know that Final Fantasy has continued past 7. They don't know that Kingdom Hearts has multiple games, or that there's multiple Call of Duties. They don't know what a PUBG is.
Yeah, my driver, he didn't know Grand Theft Auto until I called it GTA. Then he's like, "Oh, okay, yes." I said Grand Theft Auto, and he didn't know what I meant. I'm like, "Oh, wow, that's even that one's a little bit wild to me." So,
and I'm all for it. Where if this creates more jobs for people, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm not too afraid of the things I like disappearing. Nintendo's proved too resilient, and as long as I got like a home under like the Nintendo umbrella, I'm gonna be fine. And I think Steam has also proved way too resilient and too powerful in terms of deciding what's going to be the next big thing. All the big stuff always comes out of Steam Early Access. Not always, a lot of the times these days. And that being true, I'm like, okay, so yeah, as long as the experimental new ideas are still happening in the places where I'm playing games, I'm going to be like, a kid in a candy shop feeling just fine. So if the market changes again globally outside of my purview, that's completely acceptable, and I have no issues with that.
All right, this is a cut the check idea only for Supergiant, because I only want Supergiant to do this. Greg, if you're listening, hey, it's me, Jared. We've met a couple times. I really like all your stuff. But anyway, hey, Supergiant guys, just make a fucking mobile gacha game with Hades, and all these thirsty ass motherfuckers will buy it. All right, you'll become a billionaire. All right, Supergiant, it's me, your friend Jan. All right, I'll talk to y'all later.
Cut the check.
All
right. I'm going to skip to this last story. Japan physical sales from Famitsu. Switch OLED sold 62,000 units. Switch Lite and the Switch added about another 30,000. PS5 and the PS5 Digital did about 45,000. And then the Xbox Series X and S, they're around, just around 2,500 units sold. But really, I included this because Pikmin 4 in Japan has crossed 1 million physical copies alone sold in that country alone. And that is really impressive for that game. That makes me very happy, Jan. We did it.
We did it, folks. We got him, Joe.
We got him, Joe. We did it.
That's absolutely amazing. And I have always felt, as a new Pikmin supporter, that Pikmin has never gone as flowers, despite it being around flowers a lot.
Hey, we got it to number 5 on our list. Little spoiler there, sorry everybody, but you can go watch that right now, and that it'll give you hope for the future, seeing that game do so well. All right, let's see here. Super Mario Brothers Wonder was also still number 1, 82,470 units sold over the week. It's at 1.232 million already in Japan physically. Ooh. So pretty good for that game.
We were just talking about mobile games. This is evidence that console gaming is not going to disappear.
No way. Yeah, the console gaming is, at least when it comes to Nintendo, is doing better in Japan than it has in the last several years. So it's like, even the country that we thought, oh no, they're fully moving on to mobile. They're not looking backward at all. Like even the PlayStation 5 seems to be doing better than the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 struggled a little bit in Japan, just a little bit. It wasn't like some catastrophe, but it struggled a little bit in Japan. And now the PS5 seems to be rebounding. Now the games don't sell as well, but give it some time. Once it's like the default console for a lot of people, maybe that will change. But Nintendo Switch games just continue to fly off the shelf in that country. So yeah, I think we're going to reach this equilibrium where it is everything we're getting is additive. I am so far beyond the mobile games are coming to take away the things we like phase of my life. That was 2012. And I think we learned a lesson then where it's like immediately right after that, when everyone was doom and gloom, we got the PS4 taking over the world. And then very soon after that, we got the Switch taking over the world. So yeah.
Here's a dirty thing that I'm about to say. Folks, in the year 2023, there was a good month of my time where I didn't want to share this with anyone, despite me loving everyone I work with and feeling like a safe space. I re-downloaded Clash Royale.
What the fuck? Wait, you just did this recently?
No, this was in the middle of the year. I downloaded Clash Royale and I played it for a solid month.
What?
I didn't want to share with anyone.
Yeah, you keep that to yourself. You keep your shame to yourself.
And hey, the game's still fun.
Yeah, damn it. I was there's a new Star Wars like card deck building game. I think it's coming out on mobile. And I'm like, I should play that. And I know it's just going to be gotcha shit. And I'm going to lose a bunch of money on it. But
don't 5150 myself, please. I'm okay.
We'll see. Next time I see you, I'm going to check your phone, Jan. I'm going to see what you've been playing recently.
Don't look at my apps.
I'm going to look at your apps. All right, I got the poll question from yesterday. Let's see here. Will you double dip to play GTA 6 on console and then again on PC? 16% said yes, 84% said no. And if you're wondering, is that low? No, so that's 16% of people who are going to buy the game twice. That's music to Rockstar's ears. And we know a good like 5-10% of the people that said no are lying, right? So they'll just wait for a sale. Like that's what they really mean.
They'll wait for a sale.
Or wait for PC
for like fun mods.
Yeah, exactly. Once they start seeing
liars.
Seeing Thomas the Tank Engine in there, they won't be able to help themselves. Everyone. I will definitely be double dipping. I did vote yes on this because I'm not going to wait to play it, but I will definitely get it on PC once it's available.
Thanks to NZXT, I am a PC perv now.
Yeah, we did it, everybody.
How come no one told me about Moonlight before, huh?
Oh yeah, you down with Moonlight? Yeah, I could have told you all about Moonlight. I love Moonlight.
I tried that shit out. They got an Apple TV app. What the fuck?
You know what? That's I've been using the Steam like streaming thing. I should use Moonlight. Wait, this is AMD. Can I use Moonlight on this? I don't think I can use Moonlight on this. Maybe I can. I don't think that matters because it's like it just works on phones as long as the computer is NVIDIA. So yeah, I'm gonna use Moonlight on this going forward. Maybe that'll work better because boy, it was really discouraging where I'm like, oh, I'm having such a good time. I'm getting into Star Wars. I'm going to have time for this game. It's fitting into my life in the way I need it to. And now it's running at 5 frames per second, even though I can see it over my computer and it's running great. So Moonlight's better. I'm going to use that. Now, people wonder what the fuck Moonlight is. It's basically a generic version of NVIDIA's Steam Link kind of thing. So you could stream games from your computer to your mobile devices. But it's made by someone who like puts a lot of love and care into it, and it's better than the NVIDIA and Steam Link stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we got a new poll question here in a second, but in the meantime, Jan, what do we have happening on Giant Bomb? And what's happening with you, buddy?
I built shelves yesterday.
Ooh.
They got my partner and I were on the fence about, should we get these industrial looking shelves that make us look like we work in a restaurant? And I'm like, fuck yeah, we should.
It looks like the ones in every restaurant I've ever worked in.
But oh no, why did someone send me this? What is this? No. Okay, all right. Something bad is about to happen to me then. But for the rest of today, I believe you, me, and Jeff Backlar are going to dip into the finals right after Game S Mornings.
Yep, look out for that for everybody. I hope that downloaded.
Ooh, we're also going to have an episode of Voicemail Dump Truck later today, another episode of Game S Mornings, as well as UPF and BCR tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the finale of Giant Bomb's Game of the Year 2023, where we will be talking about best music this year.
Yep.
Shouts out to Turbo Sean for putting a lot of that together and collating all those links for us. Also, Grubb, we got the finale, the in-person on-stage finale up on YouTube now, like we mentioned at the top of the show. Please go check that out. It's a fun time.
It was a really good time.
Fun time.
Yeah, it's fun just to see what the live show looks like. I think the video does a good job of kind of capturing the energy. So
yes,
definitely check that out. All right, let's see here. New poll question. Do you want a multiplayer Spider-Verse game from Insomniac in addition to Spider-Man 3 and Wolverine? So not taking away those games, but if we get the Spider-Verse multiplayer game in addition to that, is that something you want? Yes or no? We will talk about that on Game Mess Mornings here on Giant Bomb tomorrow morning for Dreg's Day. I think we should be able to get Tam. Otherwise, yes, I think we're doing good. Anything else that we should talk about that we got going on? We had mentioned that. We got UPF tomorrow.
Hey, the holidays are coming up, folks. We're going to try and pre-record some stuff, but it's going to be challenging because people are in and out for holiday breaks. But
I got
Grubb.
I got a VHS copy of that Toys R Us sent me in like 1997. It's a commercial for Star Fox 64, and I got a VCR here I can connect to my computer. Do you just want to watch this, and we'll put it out over the holidays?
Down like Charlie Brown,
All
baby.
right, fucking A, let's go.
The lists are also coming, folks. Don't worry.
Yes, the lists are coming in hot and fast. Actually, we got a bunch of people who have already submitted their stuff. We got it on a list. Some people just sent me like in raw text, and I sent it over to Sean. I'm like, make this into a thing. So he's helping out there as well. And as well as Marino actually getting it up on the site. Marino's also already got a bunch up on the site, like ready to go live here over the holidays. So look out for that. We'll let you all know.
I forgot to ask the two people I was tasked with asking, so I'll go do that today.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. We got time. We got time. And then yes, I will. If I need editing help, Lexi, yes. Tam was going to help, but he might be busy, so we'll see. I got to get my stuff over to Lexi. That's what I got to do.
I also got to get my stuff over to Lexi.
I'll write that up today. Jan, thank you so much for taking today to talk with me about video games, man. You know I love it.
It's my favorite way to start a Thursday.
Thank you all for watching. You're the best audience in gaming, and you proved that on Saturday live. That was really nice, everybody. It was really great to see.
There was an open offer to kiss everyone on the mouth, but no one wanted to redeem it.
Yeah, everyone seemed pretty chill on that, actually. So, hey,
yeah,
that's cool.
Y'all's lost.
Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye. Fade to black.
Happy birthday, Christian. Belated birthday, Christian.
It's his birthday? He doesn't have a birthday. They don't have that in Argentina. All right. Let's see here. Where's that fucking scene? What the hell? Okay. There we go.
Grubb.
Yeah.
Do you want to just stream? Can you stream the finals?
I can stream the finals.
Since you're already streaming, so
yeah,
you don't have to
I can
go
totally
down.
do that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be able to get you in a little bit, kid.